In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of games that have funded on Kickstarter or gamefound last week that interest me and give you guys my overall thoughts and first impressions about those games and whether or not they are right for you. Oh, and make sure to stay to the end of the video because I'm going to be talking about a game that's launching on January 18th that I don't think a lot of people have talked about before. So make sure you stay to the end to hear more about that game. Now, with that being said, let's just jump right into the video. First up, I have Skytear Horde. Now, this is actually a very interesting looking game. This is a card dueling tower defense game, and I don't think there's too many of those out there. The gameplay in this game feels a lot like Hearthstone, if you ever played that, but this one plays solo, cooperatively, and competitive. And what makes this card dueling game stand out is not only are you trying to defend your castle from being destroyed, but you're also trying not to run out of cards in your deck. And that can be hard because there's also a secondary opponent in the game known as minions. And they're constantly trying to get rid of you and your opponent's cards, so that's why this one really kind of stands out. There's mana in the game to also help you play more spell and monster cards. The artwork is really interesting, and the game overall is something I think is very unique that I haven't really seen before. For that reason, I can recommend picking up the all-in gameplay, because that gets you a few more Kickstarter exclusives than just the base game. You might want to consider getting the deluxe pledge if this sounds interesting to you. However, I feel like that's a bit overpriced, especially for Canadians, for just a bunch of cards in a game. Next up, I have Rise of the Necromancer, and I'm actually surprised this hasn't raised a lot more money so far. I'm wondering if this is because it's over on gamefound instead of Kickstarter. This is a game where you're going to be playing as new Necromancers trying to claim dominance over the land, taking control of cities and learning different spells. This game has been released before, but correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time Mythic is being attached to the game, and they are bringing miniatures and 3 expansions for this game, plus a gamefound exclusive box that holds all the miniatures and unlocks stretch goals. Personally, I don't always like to recommend going all in, but for an all-in gameplays that's under $200, it's hard to say no to that. The price is pretty decent, and if you rate to retail, you can bet those expansions are going to be more expensive later on. However, if this game doesn't fully interest you, but you think about picking it up later, it might be cheaper on the secondhand market if you don't mind waiting a few years to pick it up. Mythic does make great games, and this one does look like it's going to be fun to play. A little bit of area control, some dice rolling, and you play as Necromancers. Looks pretty fun, but for me personally, I'm going to pass on this one because I don't think it will last in my collection. Next up, I have Yucatan. This is an area control combat game for 2 to 4 players. However, there might be a solo mode. Now, this isn't your typical area control type game. You're more taking control of cities to enter combat so you can capture your opponent's troops to sacrifice them to the gods so you can gain the benefits when you please the gods. However, you want to also make sure when you sacrifice somebody that it's more glorious than the last, otherwise the gods will be displeased and you will have to suffer the consequences. Also in this game, you're going to be getting combat cards. This is going to be how combat is resolved in the game, and you're going to be playing them secretly, and this is going to lead to some thrilling gameplay because you're never going to know if you're going to win the combat until everyone reveals the cards. This is from the team that brought Kemet to life, so you already know this is going to be a great game. There's also creatures in this game which you can use their abilities to help benefit you in gameplay. It plays roughly in an hour to 2. If this is something that you're interested in, I highly recommend check this out. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy this game if you like Kemet. However, I'm going to pass on this one because I have a Kickstarter budget and I can't back every single game. Next up, I have Sauria, the dinosaur park survival game. I'm actually going to be getting a prototype for this game hopefully next week to do a full review of this, but my first initial thoughts about this game, it looks like it's a lot of fun, it sounds great. I know the first half of the game you are trying to complete your mission, and then the second half a volcano goes off. In this game you play as characters, and each of them have their own specific goals that you have to complete throughout the island. And you're trying to escape before you get killed off either by the volcano or dinosaurs. It just seems like it's a bit expensive to Canadian backers, especially because there's not a lot of miniatures or deluxe components. Those are definitely add-ons that I recommend picking up possibly, unless you go for the all-in pledge of this game. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the artwork is definitely unique. I like it. And I do like the theme, but I'll give you more thoughts about it when I get my copy to play. But if you're into dinosaur survival games, definitely check this one out. I'll have links down below to all these games in the description box down below. Guardians of Fire. My first thoughts and impressions about this game, it does seem pretty generic as a dungeon crawl game. Nothing overall really stands out. The price does seem like it's too high, especially if you add shipping. But the miniatures look great, and if you're a person that loves paying miniatures, this is something I definitely would check out. It has an ancient Persian theme, which seems to be a good storyline. It has a lot of push your luck into it, so if you like push your luck dungeon crawl games, then this is something that you might want to consider backing. But let me know what you guys think of it in the comment section down below. Marvel Zombies is coming out next week, so I'm personally saving up for that. Puzzle Strike 2. Now this game looks absolutely crazy. When it comes to deck building in games, you definitely want asymmetric characters, and this game has a ton. I've heard a lot of good reviews about this game. I know my daughter really loved this game, however, she's just not quite old enough to understand the whole deck building aspect yet. It has a power scepter in this game, and it looks kind of interesting, especially because if you're the one that has it, then everyone's attacking you. So it's something that definitely stands out as a deck builder. My overall thoughts about it is, it's not for me, so this is an easy pass for me. I recommend actually checking out Chris over at Leisure Games. I'll have his channel linked down below, but he did a review for this game and he absolutely loved it. So if you want to learn more about this game, definitely check out that video. Finally, I have Final Girl Series 2. Now this is blowing up everywhere, everyone's talking about this game. It definitely is a good solo game. If you're a horror fan, this is something I have said before, this is something I think you're gonna love. Series 1 did the more original slasher horror films, and Series 2 is more covering like Aliens, The Thing, Silent Hill, things along those lines. Series 1 definitely seems like it was just more mixing and matching different final girls with killers, so that gave you a lot of replayability. With Series 2, gameplay definitely looks like it's gonna be different, especially when it comes to the alien and the organisms, on how those villains play in the game. So if you're a fan of the original, this is definitely something I would pick up. Or if you're looking for a good solo game and you're looking to drop a lot of money on a solo game, this is something I personally could recommend. I don't think you need to go all in unless you're a really hardcore solo player. But I would definitely recommend picking up the Alien and the Organism expansion. Those definitely look like they're going to be a lot of fun to play. I know next week everyone's going to be talking about Marvel Zombies, so I quickly just want to mention a game, if you're not into Marvel, to try to check this one out. Sprites Battle Brawl. Now this is a card dueling game for 2 to 4 players, and it's super fun to play. I had a chance to play with the team behind this game, and I personally really enjoyed this game. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, so that's why I'm going to bring this up. It is launching Tuesday, January 18th, and it's a game where you're playing as like wizards of some type, where you are using different magical wands, and to control those magical wands, you are using sprites, and the sprites in the game have different magical powers, and you're able to boost your wand to play more of them. What really stands out about this game is the fact that it plays 4 players for a card dueling game. It has a spotlight mechanic, so if someone's in the spotlight, all players have to target that spotlight. And if you do damage to that player, then you become the player in spotlight. You're trying to gain the favor of the fans because this is an arena battle type of game. It's super family friendly, and I highly recommend to check this out. I just want to mention it because I don't think a lot of people have talked about it. And again, Marvel Zombies is going to be crazy next week. So if you're looking for someone to talk about something different, I highly recommend to check this one out. I'm also going to be getting a prototype copy for this, so make sure you stay tuned for that review, as I'll have it out as soon as I can. Sidebar quickly, I just want to ask you guys, if you guys are enjoying this type of content where I talk about a bunch of games, can you let me know in the comment section down below? I'm still pretty new to YouTube, and I'm trying to understand the content that you guys enjoy. I only really cover one game at a time, but if you guys want me to cover more Kickstarter games in one longer video, let me know down below. It's the only way I can understand what content that you guys like, and I very much appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this video, check out this video right here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.